Throughout the years, TUGS surprisingly has lots of home media releases under its belt, from the initial tapes that featured the 20-minute cuts to even some extremely odd releases, namely the extremely odd pocket money video release of the Trapped Ghosts in High Winds VHS tape with the addition of Regatta's 20-minute cut, the latter of which being called 4th of July. Heck, even TUGS ended up on home media in the United States under their Salty's Lighthouse counterparts, such as the Video Buddy tapes and also what was their only DVD release at the time, Toddler Time in the year 2000. Fans of the series wanting to get the show in DVD quality had decided to put together a DVD campaign in order to get the show on disc. Unfortunately, despite many fans' hopes and dreams of getting the show onto DVD, TUGS sadly never left VHS. Despite efforts ending up pretty empty-handed in the 2000s, 20 years later, fans would get their wish, as in February of 2024, TUGS The Exhibition would announce they had gained permission to release DVDs of the 15-minute versions of the first episode, Sunshine, with a selection of behind-the-scene images and even a small book containing the script of the said cut of the episode. After its initial success, DVDs of the following episodes, Pirated and Trapped, would be announced, followed by Regatta in June, with them fluctuating with the bonus content. Sunshine also got announced to be released as a singular DVD, only with none of the bonuses. Munitions has also been confirmed, but neither it or Regatta has released yet as I was making this video. So, was the wait worth it? Honestly, not really. Now yes, I do understand there are people who do love the fact that TUGS has finally reached the DVD format officially, and it is possible that a few people won't even mind the shortcomings of this release. Unfortunately, I feel like the efforts to restore and make the episodes look better for the DVD format were not really well done. First is that while the cover designs are interesting in terms of the colours used, I personally really don't like how they look. Namely, Sunshine using a blurry screen cap from the episode at the front, Trapped's promotional picture being skewed wrong, and in general the quality of the screen caps from the episodes being very blurry and sort of being rough on the eyes. The TUGS logo used is also strangely not the original, despite the fact a clean rip of the original logo is easy to find on the internet. Though, to be fair, it was most likely a creative choice to use the exhibition's own logo, which I would be fine with, but honestly, I don't like how it looks. Personally, I think the gradients look weird, and Tenten's bumper is erroneously not coloured in, which wasn't fixed for either the Trapped or Pirate DVDs. To give credit where credit is due, I do like how these DVDs harken back to the original VHS releases of TUGS from the late 80s and early 90s, namely with how it's formatted and the tagline, "From the producers of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends." That's a nice callback. Otherwise, I personally do not like how these look, and honestly, they look a bit rough. Next is the alleged bonus material included in earlier editions of the DVDs, namely the behind-the-scenes content. Unfortunately, these two are handled pretty poorly in my eyes, namely the fact that Sunshine and Trapped's inserts contain pictures that do not relate to the episodes themselves. Namely, this picture comes from a high tide deleted scene in Trapped using a behind-the-scene picture of Zip during his construction, which doesn't even relate to the episode at all. Honestly, to give credit, Pirate, and Trapped to a lesser extent, has much more on-topic pictures. In fact, Pirate has a perfect selection of behind-the-scenes in terms of its topic, though sadly, both for its variety and presentation leave a lot to be desired. Also, I'm sorry, but what sort of crosses the line for me a little bit is that in a supposed professional product that is commercially released of sorts, there are a few awkward sentences and misspelling that really gives off a bootleg vibe. Like, did nobody notice any of these? Like, Lucky's Yard with a missing C? Huh? Now let's talk about how these episodes look on DVD. Honestly, I think they're very poor. Now, to be fair, DVD resolutions are usually up towards 480p quality. However, many official DVDs can still look extremely sharp and crisp at this resolution, especially if they're remastered to that quality. My issue isn't resolution, however, it's how they presented them. The exhibition has stated they have used pneumatic submasters of the episodes held in the archives of the rights holders, which on paper sounds better than the VHS releases by Castle Vision. However, they decided to do a amount of work to make sure they look clean and new, when in reality, all they did was completely blur out the video and sometimes overly saturate the colours, causing loads of colour bleed. It's really not easy on the eyes. This affects many details in scenes, such as many wide or open shots, which causes details to them to be lost. Knowing there are many little details that are present within TUGS itself, many of them are lost in translation here due to the excessive blurring used. In general, everything just looks needlessly saturated with colour bleed, which can mess up some of the originally intended colours. But other times, colours is lost altogether. What happened here? The prices on these are probably the real deal breaker. I would have still taken an issue with the above issues, but not as severely if they didn't cost £20 each, which when translated to AUD equals up to roughly $50? Yikes! That's honestly a bit steep, given that these DVDs are honestly very lackluster. Not to mention, they are planning on also doing DVD-only runs of Sunshine at roughly a similar price. According to the exhibition, this is done to make earlier releases seem special and valuable. But I'm not buying into that. To be honest, I apologize for the very sour video, but these DVDs are just pretty bad. The presentation of everything is just so sloppy and rough, with excessive uses of blurring and questionable color corrections make these extremely disappointing. Personally, I don't really care if they were on pneumatic submasters, as long as they transferred them correctly. Which they didn't. Of course, not to mention the pretty pricey nature of them. In general, would I recommend getting the TUGS DVDs? No, not at all. Honestly, I would rather watch the uploads of the series on YouTube, which even they look better than what's even on these DVDs. The DVDs are honestly too much for the asking price, and personally, that's what really kills them for me. The excessive blurring, high price, and questionable color correction and presentation leaves me extremely disappointed with these DVDs. And that's all I have to say about them. There's really not much to them. Them being rough around the edges at a high price make these kind of unworthy for the 35th anniversary of TUGS. But knowing that we're almost at munitions, I doubt they are stopping anytime soon. So my word is, don't buy them. Not even if they somehow include more bonus material. As a way to celebrate TUGS as a whole, this is just kinda laughable. So to tell them the message to stop making them, just don't buy them. But one thing I will have to say though is please, don't harass or cause arguments with the exhibition just because they made some sloppy DVD. That's simply not cool, and I will be deleting any comments from either side that plays into being aggressive or rude. The reason I made this video is not to harass the exhibition, but to simply talk about the DVDs. And honestly, regardless of how I and many fans feel about the trust, which personally I'm not really a fan of the exhibition due to reasons I'll not get into, these leave a lot to be desired regardless. I again apologize for the very sour video, but honestly, I feel like it must be said. TUGS never really had a track record of good home media releases, but I feel like this feels like the lowest it could ever go, especially by today's standards. But I made it clear in this video why, so regardless, I hope you will enjoy this video, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye!